this motovlog, I'm going to talk about countersteering a little bit and just how I became more comfortable doing it at higher speeds too. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty on like how it works because there's plenty of other videos on YouTube already that dive into that. So generally how I started was at regular road speeds, 25 to 35, and on some pretty gradual curves. So you see one coming up here that's pretty gradual to the left. It helps me start to get comfortable with just pushing up to go left, pushing right to go right, without it being, too serious or anxiety inducing, because they're pretty easy slopes. So if you have access to roads like this near your house, definitely recommend it if you're new to motorcycling and want to start getting into countersteering. Start easy, and you can Google Map, the roads near you to see which ones are better for that. So here's another one. I want to make sure that I have practiced left and right both relatively equally, so that it's not super easy to countersteer to the right and then the left is just tossed out the window. And so again, you see that this is very, very, very gradual. I'm going 32 miles per hour. It's super low stress in terms of practice, although I am a very anxious person, so I still felt anxiety. And now this is tighter countersteering turns, but I'm going a little bit slower just so I can get used to it. And also I'm going into the sun, which is not great, but it's a street that has some hidden driveways that come out, so it's good to be cautious. Ultimately, I'd like to be able to take this road a little bit faster though, and so it's a street I'm going to practice on more often so that I can comfortably do tighter countersteers, above 20 miles per hour. I think I am a little bit over 20 here, but I still slow down now and again to get into the tight turns. So this one's pretty gradual, but the earlier ones on this street were a little bit more loopy-loopy. And I know I have a tendency to countersteer before the turn, as if I guess I anticipate it too soon. And so that's something I have to practice is, get to the turn and then push right to go right. Don't push right while I'm still on the straightaway ahead of it, because then I cut off part of the road markings and all that. Jump to the highway. Again, it is a gradual countersteer, but it's at much higher speeds. And so when I was first going on the highway, I'd be in the slow lane so that I could get familiar with going a little bit faster. I think the speed limit's 50 or 55, so doing that. And then transitioning to the fast lane and going 60 to 65. So they are more gradual when you look on a map, but because you're going so fast, they don't always feel that way. So it's definitely something that most of them I'm comfortable on, but there are still a few that I will slow down for, which I don't think I have in here because all I've been riding now is the highway. One thing that is really nice is, you learn, if you've taken the MSF safety course, that you're supposed to approach obstacles head on. And while that is true, it is nice to go over, to be turning or countersteering, and you're going over some pretty awful roads that might make you think that, one of your tires is going to slip out. But the balance of the motorcycle does not let that happen, which is really nice, because otherwise on a lot of these streets, I would just wipe out. And I am using this kind of first person perspective as opposed to the camera that's on my mirrors bar, because you can see that I'm looking where I'm trying to go. Sometimes I still have to remind myself, you need to look at the exit of the turn, not where I'm going, because it's easier to focus obviously on the here and now, but you have to look towards the future where you're headed. And so yeah, you'll see like I'm looking, so my helmet camera is no longer centered on the bike. It's slightly to the right or slightly to the left, slightly to the right or slightly to the left. But that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope this countersteering video helped you a little bit if you're someone like me who's newer to riding. Thank you, and hope you have a great day.